What is going on, everybody? This is Drew here. I want to welcome you all to a brand new episode of Phoenix Down. This is Phoenix Down 103.1, and we are continuing our playthrough of Yakuza. Today I have with me Matt.
Hello.
And yeah, did 4 chapters this previous episode, and I did 4 chapters this episode. Matt, I know you did about 3.5-ish.
Yeah, I call it 3.5.
No. But there's a good amount to talk about here. Last we left off, Kiryu was kind of at a dead end. There is the Omni Alliance who is trying to get a hold of Haruka, and we don't know who has hired them to do this. And we're kind of at a loss. We don't know where Haruka's mom is. We know what she looks like now, but can't find her. So we need to get some information. And one of the things that we know is that there is a information broker in Kamurocho that goes by the name of the Florist.
They call him the Florist, but there aren't a particularly high number of flowers around.
Not particularly, no. I think it's because this man, I guess, grows information. He's a master at it.
Sure. Seems like a stretch, but we'll give it to him.
Yeah.
He's been doing it a while.
So, where is the Florist? Well, the Florist just so happens to be in a old staple of Yakuza 0, Purgatory. Which, if anybody doesn't know, is the homeless park.
West Park, is that what it's called?
I think it's called West Park, yeah, but they call it Purgatory.
Yeah.
That's where all the homeless live. And wouldn't you know it, when you go there and what originally was what looks like a subway tunnel? Is
that what it is? I thought it was a bathroom.
I mean, going through the bathroom to get to the to
get into Purgatory. And then, I think it's a subway tunnel when you get, through the park and into his lair.
Yeah, which is
Pleasure Palace lair.
Full of all sorts of stuff. There's a casino, there is a fighting cage tournament area, there is plenty of women of the night there. He seems to just have his hands in pretty much everything, which actually makes him a pretty good information broker. So much, in fact, that when we meet the guy, he has basically a command center. He has multiple CCTV monitors up, watching pretty much the entire city.
And he said what? The police put up like 6, and then he put up like 1,000 cameras?
Yeah, so what we find out is he was an ex-police officer, and when he quit the police force, he then went into information. So, yeah. So we need to get some information. And the thing is, and the impressive thing is this dude already knows everything. He knows who you are. He knows who we're looking for. All this kind of stuff. The dude really knows his stuff. He also detests Yakuza. Hates dealing with them. Hates them to every fiber of his being. So, from here, we in order to get into the good graces of the Florist, for him to help us, well, he makes us go into that fighting tournament, which I'm getting flashbacks to Yakuza 0.
To, like, 10% of all video games?
Seems like it, yeah. There's all... You say 10%. I say more like 25% of the video games, particularly of the mid-90s to early 2000s era, had some type of multi-tiered fighting tournament that you had to go through.
Yeah, it's either a legitimate tournament or it's prove your worth on these, 5 subordinates.
Yeah. So, yep, had to win 3 rounds there. That last guy was kind of tough.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not very good at this game.
So, there's a couple of questions I want to ask you. The first one being, why do you feel like you're not very good at this game?
Because the fights all tend to take a lot of time. I don't feel like I have great evasion yet, although I am using the block and the dodge a bit more lately. I feel like I'm often getting caught in 5 and 6 hit juggles where I just can't do anything until I'm done.
Okay.
So it's like I get in 3, then they get in 5. Then I get in 5, then they get in 5. And it's just kind of a back and forth thing. I don't feel like I'm able to make it dynamic and block and deflect and parry and all kinds of interesting ways to intervene with their attacks.
So let me ask you a question. What have you been upgrading with your experience points?
It's been fairly balanced. So I think most of what I've put my points into, initially it was just like health bar and wherever I could see a path towards increased damage. Those are like the first 2 things I tried, and then when I realized maybe I didn't have as many moves as I should, I've really been focused on expanding the move sets lately.
Okay.
So I'd say it's fairly balanced between moves and life. Those two major wheels.
So,
is it soul and body? I don't remember what they're called.
Yeah, soul, body, and tech, and then the dragon. So,
which that one's shot up a lot as well lately since I find Majima around every corner seemingly.
So, in the spirit one that has to do with your heat meter mainly, there are 3 nodes that I recommend you get as soon as possible. They are the Essence of Extreme Brawler, Extreme Beast, and Extreme Rush. Those unlock your climax heat moves. So when you're fighting a stronger enemy, particularly a boss who, when you bring their health down, they will start to have an aura around them and regenerate their health. If you switch to that aura color after unlocking these extreme essences, you can use a heat move that does major damage to them and also stops them from regenerating health. And in most cases, it is almost an instant death for that person.
Oh, that's pretty good. So, I feel like whatever Majima is, I may have unlocked that one because he seemed to not be regenerating when he was in that state when everyone else was.
Okay, so the only way...
Or maybe he just doesn't normally.
I don't think he does it normally. So
yeah.
when the only way to get them to stop regenerating health is to do a heat attack on them using the correct style.
Mm-hmm.
So if they glow blue, you switch to Brawler. If they glow purple, you switch to Rush. And then yellow, switch to Beast. And that is almost like a... And the thing is even if you don't have enough heat, they stand there for a few seconds.
You can just punch them to build up heat?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. To be honest with you, I found that I basically said I don't care about tech abilities. I did spirit and body. So I did my max. I increased my maximum health as much as possible, and I did all of my heat stuff. I currently have 3 heat gauges, or slots.
Like
so
3 extra bar. Yeah, I do as well. I've that's mostly what I've upgraded as well.
So
I don't think I've hit.
Have you got the red heat gauge or heat sections?
Yeah.
Okay. So you may already have the Essence of Extreme whatever.
Yeah.
And if you do, then that's that's essential.
Yeah, that's where I've been putting all of my points lately.
I found that upgrading my heat abilities is the best thing I've done. I mean, maximum health, sure. Probably extra, attack power with certain styles, sure, that kind of thing. But the heat stuff is really what makes it different.
Yeah. The only thing I've been avoiding, I mean, aside from some of the tech and some of the new abilities, like there's a lot of abilities I looked at, I'm like, that sounds okay, but I probably won't remember exactly how to trigger it, so I'm not going to waste points on it.
You just read my mind. Because that's exactly what I look. I look at the tech stuff and I say, that could be useful, but I will never remember it. Also, yep. I will never use that. Because here's what I do. I do XXXY. XXXY.
Yep. Sometimes XXYY.
Yeah, it depends on the style that I'm using. I don't use Rush as much as I did in Zero. I use Brawler.
I mostly was using Beast early on, just because I like that in Zero. I've switched now. I've been kind of using a little bit of all of them. So when I switched away from Beast, it was 2 Rush, and that was okay. I felt like I was getting in hits, but things weren't really going any faster because the 6 hits I got in were only equivalent damage-wise to the 1 hit I was getting in Beast mode.
Right.
So I've kind of focused more on Brawler and Dragon. Now that I've got a variety of things unlocked, they're all kind of useful, and it just sometimes depends on the enemy. I feel like some enemies are just blocking all my rush attacks, so I'll just switch, knowing that I might have fewer openings, and I want to make each one worth more, essentially. So yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm doing it. I think I only died once, I think, and that was because I went into a battle with like 2 health drinks, and I was like, this was a bad idea. I should have restocked. But I've had a lot of them. I've had a lot of fights where I had to use like 15 to 20 drinks to get through it. So I don't feel like I've really mastered the fighting yet.
Yeah. I've got currently. I'm sitting on like almost 400 experience points, or like little levels up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I can. I've just been saving them to upgrade some stuff. It takes 50 points to unlock and stuff like that.
Yep.
But yeah, I have to say, I prefer the. I feel like I prefer the leveling up and progression in this game way more than I do Yakuza 0. Because Yakuza 0, your experience points was your money.
Yep.
And while I didn't spend that much money, I never gained that much money either. So I felt like I was kind of like just at a standstill. With this game, they throw experience points at you like nuts. If you do,
is there a conversion factor between experience and CP or whatever you use to actually buy the upgrades? Because sometimes it'll tell you got 20,000 experience points.
That I don't know. So CP is different. CP is whenever you beat a challenge. Like a challenge would be like fight Majima 10 times. And you can go to
talk to 100 people.
Yeah, you can go to the clown guy and exchange your CP for little perks. Your experience is, as far as I can tell, is just that number above the green bar above your health.
But those are like single digits that you get. So how does it convert the 20,000 experience points that I got for doing something to those other points, the green points?
That's a good question, and I can answer it with I have no idea.
I just assume there's some correlation there in the background.
I just watched the bar go up, and then that number increases, and that's the amount of skill points that I have that I can put into abilities.
Yep, I just do that, and then once I see that I've got over 100, I go buy some abilities.
There you go.
That's about it.
So back to the story. After winning the tournament, the florist gives us some information. First off, he knows pretty much everything there is to know about the 10 billion yen heist. He knows that it's been taken from the Yakuza. And crap, there was a couple other things that he revealed. Like, he basically knew everything that was going on, essentially. But the big thing is he also knows that watching the CCTV cameras, Date, who has been also investigating this whole thing, is currently in a bit of a jam right now. He is, I guess, right down the road from us, and getting the crap beat out of him by a bunch of Yakuza at the batting cages. So we have to run down there and help him. And in doing so, we run into Majima. And Majima is there and wailing on him. Everybody is. We beat those guys up, and then Majima's like, okay, well, time to fight me. So there is a disconnect here. And the reason why is because this was part of the original Yakuza story. The Majima Everywhere mechanic was not in the original game. This is a Kiwami thing.
Yep.
And I feel like there's a major disconnect here because in this part, Majima just feels like a straight up bad guy. While in the Majima Everywhere scenarios, he's kind of like the goofball rival of Kiryu. So it does feel a little different tonally. Majima in the original game, the first Yakuza, I would say was kind of primarily a villain. He wasn't downright evil. He was more of like a
evil / wild card.
Yeah, he was
chaotic.
He was just chaotic. Yeah, but he was still following orders. Like if Shimano told him to do something, you got it, boss. That kind of thing. So he is still following orders. But as the series progressed, he turned more into a rival to Kiryu more than anything. And not necessarily a villain, more like an anti-hero. And they tried to press that a little bit into Kiwami, but then you get cutscenes like this where Majima's just a straight-up villain, who's also getting hit in the face with baseballs, by the way. I should mention, we're at the batting cages, and he straight up just gets hit in the face with a baseball, and it just makes him go nuts.
Which is kind of ridiculous because just like yesterday, a Mets batter got hit in the face and
by a Braves
gushing blood. Yeah,
yep.
He was messed up. So it was kind of crazy to see that happen in game, and Majima shrugs it off, and then it happens in real life, and this guy is lucky to still have a face.
Yeah, no kidding. That was at 98 miles an hour.
Yeah, I don't remember the speed, but he was definitely gushing, and now you can see him. He's got 2 giant black eyes. His nose was broken in 3 places.
Oh, yeah. Lucky he didn't lose any teeth.
Yeah.
Man. So we have a boss fight
So,
with Majima.
Majima's a badass.
Yeah, Majima is a badass. So is Kiryu. But, yeah, Majima, we beat him up, and, jeez. I guess, is that the end of the chapter after we beat him?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of like back and forth here because I thought what actually happened was Date was getting beat up in the park, I thought, and then it was the information broker that sent us to the batting cage because he said Haruka was there.
That's right. That's right. Date. Yeah, Date was getting beat up by the bums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after we beat Majima, then we finally get Haruka. She kind of comes out, and that's when we basically just go back to Serena, like our kind of one of our home bases.
Right. Yeah. So she was kidnapped by Majima.
Yep.
That's right. I forgot about that. Jeez.
And I guess that's just part of because all these clans want the money, and they know she's related, so everybody's trying to steal her, kidnap her.
Yeah, and it does have something to do with the pendant, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
apparently that's... they said it's the key, but it looks like it's got a keyhole in it.
Right. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I assume it's not as simple as, hey, it's in a safe somewhere and the key's in the locket, but something along those lines.
Because I don't remember this plot point at all. I played this game twice and I don't remember it. It's been a while, but so yeah, we had to go rescue Haruka. That's right.
Yeah, and she says that the guy who like released her said only give this to Kiryu, and that the pendant's worth 10 billion yen.
Yes. And we're pretty sure the guy that helped her was Kazuma. Are we under the impression that it was Kazuma?
I thought so.
That's what I thought so too.
But I don't remember how they conveyed that.
Right. Well, anyway. That's the end of the chapter.
Yeah, that's the end of the chapter, but I'm just thinking we go to Serena and we go back. This game has a lot of backtracking in it.
Yeah, so the original game is rearing its ugly head here. Because a lot of this feels like busy work.
Like there are literally points where you have to run all the way back to Purgatory, go all the way back to the information broker for like 5 seconds of dialogue, and then run all the way back.
Yes.
I was like, why would you do that? Why not just have him call me on my cell phone?
That happens and see, that's the thing, is that they do a good job of explaining the saving system, because you can save at a anywhere in the game, but you can also still save at payphones. And the whole point was, it was a play on the fact that in Yakuza 0, you had to save.
Cell phones.
Yeah, there were no cell phones, and now he can save anywhere because he has a cell phone. But yeah, so yeah, the backtracking definitely comes into play in the next chapter, because holy moly.
Yeah, there's really two things. There's the backtracking, and then there's the number of times, especially over these last 3 or 4 chapters, where you have to go find somebody, but you just go to point A, and then you just saw her run away, so now you need to go to point B, and then you get to point B, like, oh, you just missed her, but somebody overheard she was going to C, so now you have to go to C, and it's just this long like series where, again, it's kind of my my Dead Space conundrum is that they could have just, where you need to go, and it's just how many steps do you want to take along the way.
Right.
And it's just like, how much time did they have to build more steps? And none of them really add anything to this. It's just a matter of churning through. Is it going to be 3 misses and then you find it, or is it going to be 4 misses and then you find it? And that, that's a little boring, formulaic, repetitive. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely is still structured like the 2005 game, and the games get better with that as the series goes along.
Yeah, it's funny because it looks so polished, right? It looks just as good as Yakuza 0.
It's running off the same
missions,
engine.
I'm like, man, the missions are not interesting for the most part.
Yeah, they definitely remodeled it using the engine for Yakuza 0, so it looks great. And same way with Kiwami 2. They both look really, really good. But if you think that game looks really good, wait until you play Yakuza 6. Because they changed the engine again, or they updated the engine again. I want to say Yakuza 6 is running on the same engine that Judgment 2 is. And if anybody watched the trailer for Judgment 2, holy crap.
Yeah, that looked really good.
Yeah.
I'm kicking myself now because before we ever started playing, the Yakuza series, they had one of those big in Japan sales, and I saw Judgment, and I was like, oh, this looks cool. And I had no context for it and just said, I've already got 1,000 games I'm not playing. I guess I'll pass on this one. But, now that I'm kind of in the world, I really want to get Judgment and try it out, especially with Lost Judgment coming out at some point.
Yeah, I think October. Didn't they say October for Lost Judgment?
Oh, wow. I hadn't realized it was quite that soon even.
Yeah, it's this year. But yeah, so, next chapter, we have to help multiple people, multiple sons. After returning back to Serena, we then have to, I can't remember what kickstarts this. I think it's just hitting the streets again.
Yep, that's literally it. Go find some leads. And then as he walks outside, somebody, a bum basically says, you need to go see the florist.
Right. And the florist is needing some help because of his son. His son has got in bad with some of the local gangs. I don't think they're Yakuza, but I think they're just gang members.
Yeah, I think so. Like teen gangs.
Yeah. And he owes money to him, I think. Or he was supposed to do a job that was supposed to get money.
Yeah, you end up... these two have quite the need for money.
Yeah. It's... we end up back at the batting cages with him, right?
Yep, because that's where the son is.
Yeah. And he's there with a girl. And it just so happens not only is he owing money to this gang that he was in, he is also with this girl who happens to be the daughter of a leader of a family from a Yakuza clan that is not affiliated with the Tojo clan. Like from another city.
Yep.
And they're supposed to... No, they stole money. That's what it is. He stole money, or he had his girlfriend steal the money from the Yakuza. And it was for the gang thing. But he decided that him and her run off together, Bonnie and Clyde style. And, well, the gang members catch up to him. So we got to go help him out. We crack some skulls. She runs off and now she's in trouble. She goes to
Yeah,
this club.
Yeah, part of it was that she needed money. But, I don't know if they had the same need, if he was just stealing the money for her.
It could have been that. I can't remember. But, so the Yakuza shows up. The other clan shows up. And they want to straight up kill the boyfriend. Because, well, you kind of stole/kidnapped the boss's daughter. Also, you got a lot of money that belongs to us.
And they also said that they kind of see him as weak, so they're like kicking him out of the clan, out of the group.
Right. And that's when we go to the club. This club's layout is weird too, right?
Yeah, it's like it's a one-room club almost.
It's a one-room club, but on both sides of the club, it has what looks like almost like a airplane terminal or a train station terminal. Because it's got like these weird like entrances that you can go, like one lane's for exiting and one lane's for entrance.
Yeah, it was really strange.
It's so strange. But, we end up intervening and beating up a bunch of Yakuza. And not the head guy, the lieutenant for this clan or family.
Yeah, the one in the purple suit, right?
Yeah, the one that he's like, all right, just give us the money, and the girl comes with us, and we'll let you live. And he's wanting to cut off his finger to prove that he is like strong and atone for this. And of course, Kiryu's like, no, don't do this. This is dumb. Don't do this. You're not in the Yakuza. Leave it alone. And then we see the florist watching all of this happen on his monitors, and standing next to him is the clan leader or the family leader, and he's like, "Yeah, I hate Yakuza, but you have a good daughter," and he's like, "You have a good son. Thank you for helping me," and we kind of leave it at that. Give the money back to the Yakuza, and the boy and the girl stay together.
Yep, they run off to start their life, and he says he'll do anything he can to take care of her, and proving that is all he needs to do, not severing his finger.
There you go. Okay.
So that was, I guess, related because it was the florist's son.
Yeah. That was what felt like it should have been a side mission.
Yep. Kind of took a while.
Yeah. And so we return back to Serena, and Date is there, and he is drunk as a skunk. I mean, he is just like,
fully passed out, right?
Yeah, really bad. And he gets a phone call.
Yep.
And when Kiryu answers it, it is his daughter saying...
That's kind of funny, because Kiryu's like, I think you just stood this girl up.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, you stood me up. Again.
And Reina's like, no, that's his daughter.
Yeah. And so, I can't, I'm sorry, I did all this Friday, so it's been almost a week, and I can't remember the majority of this. What makes Kiryu go after her?
Because Date had said they were supposed to meet at a park previously.
Right.
So Kazuma says, I'll go get her. Basically.
Gotcha.
Because Date obviously wasn't going to do it. He's passed out.
Right. So,
So that was another like really weird twist in my mind is he goes to meet him in the park and these two girls are like trying to sell themselves to him.
right. Because, and well, one of them is her.
Yep.
Saya, the daughter. And her friend, Saya runs off. The friend's still there. And Kiryu's like, okay, I guess I gotta go after her. And then she's at, I guess, a hostess club? She's turned into a hostess?
Yeah, I couldn't really tell her relationship with Shotaro, right?
I guess. I mean,
yeah.
Is she a prostitute or is she just a hostess?
I think based on what she was trying to do in the park, maybe playing both roles.
Gotcha. And the reason why is because, well, she has no money. And her drunken deadbeat dad won't help her. So, yeah, she gets accosted by some of the patrons, or one of the patrons at the bar or at the club, and of course we have to beat the crap out of him. And then a whole bunch of other people should start kicking in on it because I think he was Yakuza.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. This entire chapter felt like a side mission.
Yeah, and that's that's kind of what I meant. Where there's just a lot of fights and there's a lot of chasing people and A to B, and now this is the second pair of teenagers that need money and have just stolen, or they're desperate for money and are doing whatever they can to get it. I'm like, it just feels repetitive.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel necessary at all to the main story.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't. But yeah, after helping him, it feels almost like it was like these two things were like what were they called from Mass Effect 2? The loyalty missions.
Oh yeah,
getting the florist and Date's loyalty.
Yeah, actually, that's a good way to look at it. If that actually had a bearing on the game, that might actually give these some real weight.
Yeah. But yeah, the next chapter is when things start to go down a little bit more. Well, not a little bit more, a lot more. So there's a cutscene that we get, a news story talking about how they found a body in the Tokyo River, and it was of a woman that had a tattoo on her chest, much like Haruka's mom. And yeah, somebody killed Haruka's mom.
Yep.
And they found, what was it? They said that she was tortured, and then
looks like her throat was slit.
Yeah, it looks like her throat was slit, and they also found cement. I'm guessing they gave her cement shoes and threw her down into the water. So, yeah, but we're not going to tell Haruka that just yet.
Yeah, I don't want to say she's fragile. She is young, but
yeah, she seems to be able to hold her own.
Yeah, that's why I say I wouldn't call her fragile because she actually does. She doesn't act as much like a kid as you might think. Maybe because she's had to fend for herself for a long time. I don't know, but yeah, no need to spoil her day, I guess.
Right. So the big clue that we get from this new story is the picture of the tattoo itself, because it has a signature on it. And the signature is of a tattoo artist that Kiryu knows. In fact, it's the tattoo artist that did his large back tattoo.
And Nishiki's.
Yes, and Nishiki's. So we go to take a visit to the tattoo parlor to talk to this guy and see if he can possibly give us some clues as to where this woman is, if it's really her, because at this point we don't know if it's actually her or not. And when we go to see him, unfortunately, he says, well, that's my tattoo, but it's not done by me.
Yeah, a lot of people have been copying me. I'm kind of a big deal.
Yeah. While we're here, Kiryu gets a phone call, and it's none other than Nishiki. And Nishiki's like, so we really need to talk.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. Why don't we meet up at Serena, and we'll have a little discussion about what's happening here in the Tojo clan, because I think, you have something that I need, basically.
Yep.
So that's looming on us. Oh boy. But, that's going to be the next thing that happens. Oh, also the tattoo artist also touches up Kiryu's back tattoo. Which, I mean, I don't have any tattoos, but a touch-up usually takes multiple hours, right?
Yeah, I mean, depending on the size, and his is definitely on the larger side, so most certainly it would take many hours. I also need a touch-up.
Also, I don't know, but typically, I know a tattoo is usually sometimes painful, and I would assume that, you usually have to cover up a tattoo. If he touched up his back, I mean, doesn't that mean he's like, got wounds on his back now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly how they do a touch-up. They might go not as deep, but I think they would have to. I assume they would kind of re-outline it and almost like tracing around it. But yeah, I mean, it should require some healing time for sure.
Right.
But I mean, I think we mentioned that same thing in Yakuza 0. The people get the crap beat out of them, and then they're fine like 30 seconds later. I mean, there's even fights, like you end a fight sometimes and his fists are red with blood.
Yes.
And then a second later it's gone.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it makes sense. It's a game, but it'd be kind of funny if they showed him like shaking his hands or something just to shake off the droplets of blood or something. That would kind of explain it.
So, yeah, after that we go back to Serena, and, we get into a little discussion with Haruka. She's wanting answers at this point. And Kiryu finally sits down and tells her, look, I'm sorry, but, your mother's dead. And Haruka is not happy with this.
Yeah. It was one of the more touching moments, I thought, though, because he's like, look, I'm sorry I couldn't save her.
Yeah.
And then she just, like, reaches up and, like, pokes him in the face. I assume she was, like, caressing him, but it just looked like a poke.
Isn't this also when he slaps her?
Yeah, he does, like, straight up slap a child.
Yeah. Because she says something, but I can't remember what it was. But, yeah, he slaps her, and then she just keeps on talking.
Yeah, it's tonally a bit all over the place.
Yeah, they get into it pretty hard. And Kiryu's like, well, your mom's dead. So
take that.
Yeah. He doesn't actually say it like that, but no. So she is obviously upset, and she's like, all right, I don't need this anymore. She throws the locket down and says, "Here, you can have this. I don't care." Runs out the door. So Kiryu's like, "Great. Now we got to go find her." So he and Date start scouring the city, and man, another wild goose chase.
This is another one of those A to B to C things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know where she is. Just go there.
Yeah. So, go here, go there, go to the arcade. I saw her leave out of here with somebody else, and it was a dude in a suit. So we finally go back to where we need to go, which is the club that we first went to at the beginning of the game. I can't remember who runs it.
We go to Stardust.
Stardust, right? Yeah. Which is that club with the guy who's an informant for Kazuma. But, when we get there, oh boy, some things go down here. So these guys in black, so men in black, have multiple guns on us. And they're like, "Okay, we've got the girl. Give us the amulet. We give you the girl back." And Kiryu's like, "Okay, fine. We'll do a trade." And as it's almost Matrixy how they do it. It's all slow motion. So Haruka's about halfway down the stairs. Kiryu has the amulet. He throws it to him. And as he's throwing it, Haruka comes walking down the stairs. One of the dudes pulls out his gun and starts to aim at Haruka. Date sees this, jumps in the way of it, gets shot in the arm. Or no.
Well, technically, she gets shot in the arm.
She gets shot in the arm. Date gets shot too, though. He gets shot in the shoulder. No, they shoot Date, and Kiryu gets her. And as he's doing that, he tries to dodge out of the way, and Haruka gets shot in the arm. It's just a graze. It's nothing that she has to go to the hospital for. But now we have to fight these unknown dudes. And these all have guns. Every single one of them.
And these guns pack a punch.
Yes, you get shot by one of them, you immediately stumble down to the ground, and you have to mash on the A button or the X button to get back up. Now, luckily, there was I had leveled up my heat stuff in the heat tree branch, whatever you call it, the skill tree.
Yeah.
And there is an ability that as long as you
disarm the gunners.
Disarm the gunners. Yep. And I got my heat meter all the way up and was just like, nope. It worked out pretty well. I still got hit a few times and stun locked a couple of times, but I didn't ever die here.
Yeah.
But after beating this fight, Kiryu, there's one guy remaining. Everybody else runs. And Kiryu, he grabs the guy. He's like, "Who the hell are you working for?" And as he's getting ready to say it, bang, one of the other guys shoots that dude in the head and runs off. So now we got these mystery shady guys trying to get Haruka, particularly trying to get her amulet. So the key, I feel like the key to this whole mystery is not actually Haruka, but the amulet that she has. But we still got one more thing we got to deal with. Go back to Serena. Well, I'll take that back. We go back to Purgatory first. And we have Date and Haruka basically shack up in a shed in Purgatory. One of the homeless sheds.
Yeah.
I said, "You'll be safe here." They're like, "Okay." Now, Kiryu's got some unfinished business. Go back to Serena. And he waits for Nishiki. Nishiki comes in, and he's like full on evil. And they have the whole discussion of, well, it's been a long time. You've been busy the past 3 days that you've been out of jail. And you know exactly why I'm here. I want Haruka. And you're going to give her to me. And of course, Kiryu's like, no, I'm definitely not going to do that. And, well, Nishiki's like, okay, you had your chance. Calls in his boys and tells them to kill him.
This should have been the best scene of the game so far, right? Like, there's a lot of build up to this, even more so building off of Yakuza 0, all the history that they've got.
Sure.
And the fact that, they went through all that, now they haven't seen each other in 10 years. It felt a little abrupt. I mean, it's not that long of a scene even, but you don't get the sense even that it was covering that much time either.
So that's another thing that's it's another thing that rears its ugly head about the first game.
Is that it didn't have Yakuza 0?
It did not have Yakuza 0 to set up that stuff.
Yeah. So you don't even know that they were like super good friends.
You don't, no. When this game came out, the only thing you knew of Nishiki was that he killed Dojima and Kiryu took the blame for it. That's pretty much it. And that...
I mean, that at least hints at it, though, right? Like, he wouldn't have given himself up for Nishiki unless they were close.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really know the depth of it, but even just with that key piece of information, like, if you would do that for somebody and then not see them for 10 years, you would have a lot of things to talk about. And Kiryu even says that to Haruka. He says, "Don't wait up. We haven't seen each other in a long time. It's going to be a late night."
Yeah, that's true.
And then it felt like it was about a 2-minute conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it really was. I can't blame the game for this though, because this game in 2005 it was relatively simple,
Yeah.
Nishiki was up and comer, just like Kiryu was, and that
ambitious, gonna make it no matter what the cost.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, and it's so much different. I mean, even if you forget Yakuza 0, whatever. I mean, maybe Nishiki's not around in any of the other games. I don't know who's in the rest of the series, but in the first game of a series, you really wouldn't know to have baked in all of that, and it doesn't even make sense to reference all of that backstory because you never know if you're going to get a second game or an eighth game.
See, the problem is that we should have got a full-on remake of Yakuza 1 that maybe fleshed out a little bit more of this since Yakuza 0 came out. Yakuza 0 does a good job of showing the bonds between Nishiki and Kiryu. The problem is that the first game never hinted at a lot of those bonds.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, it's not so much a problem with the game as it is a missed opportunity to have tied them more tightly together.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I feel like you're not supposed to like Nishiki, but after playing Yakuza 0, there's so much more of like a melancholy tone to everything he says or does. Like, it's evil, but where they were, coupled with the fact that he's so clearly not respected by anybody. Like, you can almost, in the background of everything that's happening, feel his frustration and his sense of, I barely know what to do.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, I do kind of feel bad for him, but I just wish they hinted a little bit more at that piece of it. Like, more that he wishes he didn't have to kill Kiryu instead of just, yeah, you didn't give me what I wanted, so I'm going to kill you. You know, these aren't just two members of Yakuza. These are, you know, best friends who grew up together.
Yeah.
Because they did add some cutscenes. It's not like they needed even, like, a different game. They just needed some, you know, some long looks and some moments of indecision, and just to really hammer home that he may be doing evil things, but he's conflicted internally about it.
Yeah, that's true. It's, I mean,
this was the scene. I mean, after all that happens, this is what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
They finally get a chance to talk and hash this out, and, you know, they've gone on very different paths the last 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that'll come later in the game. They're both still alive.
Yeah. You'll see some more Kiryu.
Kiryu can't die.
Yeah. So we fight the Nishiki's guys in the bar, and we take it outside, and we fight a metric crap ton of dudes in the alleyway. This is
one of the ones where I was almost dead. I used like all 20 health drinks.
Yeah. It was that was a bit of a nightmare, but I was able to finally beat it.
I also wish I had a really good like area of effect hit. The closest I have is when I'm in beast mode and I can get off my, you know, my 4-hit combo. And the last one, he does like the lunge forward and really takes a wide swing.
Yeah, that
can usually hit and knock down 3 or 4 people if you get, you know, a really well timed one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I wish I had a better way to get them off of me.
Yeah, close quarters and being surrounded is kind of rough.
Yeah. Especially when a lot of them have knives. Not so much in this fight, but it does come up.
Yeah. Well, the guy you had to fight, the boss of this, had a freaking sword. He'd constantly just do a whole string of, like, sword swipes that, you know, if you get hit by one of them, you're now in a combo.
Yep.
But, yeah, after beating up those guys, that's the end of the chapter there. So, what I need to mention, which is something that I don't think we mentioned in the last episode, but in between the chapters, we get a flashback. While Kiryu is in prison, it's following Nishiki. And these cutscenes kind of show what happens to Nishiki to turn him into the way he is now. So, in 2000, in the year 2000, 5 years earlier, Nishiki finally gets a chance at his own family. And he gets some of the top guys of the Kazama family to come over to him. Well, needless to say, they're not a big fan of Nishiki. They feel like he rode on the coattails of Kazama, and they don't think he's deserving of his own family. But in this time frame, Nishiki also, when Kiryu was being arrested, he had talked about a few times that his sister was in need of a surgery or multiple surgeries. She's been very ill. And the final surgery that could, be either a death sentence or the saving grace is very expensive. We get a cutscene of him talking to a doctor saying it's going to be How much was it? 10 million yen?
30 million, I think.
30 million yen. And Nishiki uses his power as a family leader, basically to get the money. He gets the guy who really can't stand him. Like, look, I need you to do this for me. And I need you to do it any way you can. And the guy does it. But he steps on a lot of toes. Ends up stealing from businesses that were run by Kazuma and his family. And screws up royally multiple times. Nishiki comes out looking kind of like a bumbling idiot. He's having to apologize. He's given the family and the Tojo clan a bad name. And in the end, the doctor that said he would do the surgery under the table for 30 million yen, well, he skips town. And he's nowhere to be seen. So now Nishiki's there with his sister basically dying in the hospital. Also during this time, he is constantly hearing other Yakuza leaders talking about how Nishiki is useless. He doesn't know what he's doing. Kiryu would have been a much better pick.
If only Kiryu had that role.
Yeah. And the mere fact that Kiryu went down as the guy who killed Dojima, that just makes him even more famous. And you can tell that Nishiki, over the years, has grown to resent Kiryu.
Yeah.
Pretty hardcore.
Yep.
And that is, I mean, Matt, I know you said you didn't progress pretty much anywhere in this next chapter, right?
Well, yeah, not too far in. I mean, I think it is important kind of also for Nishiki's character, what he says when he meets with Kiryu at the bar, when at least he says that he didn't intend to kill Mizuki. He's like, yes, I tortured her for the money, but the two minions did, and they show him kind of losing it and shooting the other two guys in the head for having killed Mizuki.
That's right, I forgot about that.
So, I mean, maybe it's not important to the main story, but at least for Nishiki's character, you know, that was a line he didn't intend to cross, at least at that point.
Yeah. So, yeah. It is now confirmed that, yes, I am the one who killed Haruka's daughter, or Haruka's mother. And it was unintentional. My two idiot guys did on accident. And then, well, he murdered both of them. He is kind of a raging lunatic at this point.
Yeah. Seems like there's a few of them in this game.
Yeah, there is.
As Majima's turned into a raging lunatic.
Yeah. But yeah, that's I guess that's where we'll stop for now.
Well, I did get in through and see the next couple of things in Purgatory.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about those then. So, what was it that spring this one? I mean, obviously.
Yeah. Again, this and this to me is kind of indicative of the less tight narrative. But this is the second time where you don't actually have a clear reason for starting this next chapter. He basically just says, "Oh, a lot of crap went down at Serena. I should get out of here before the cops show up." And then you just kind of like take off. And then I think you overhear somebody say like, "Oh, a bunch of ambulances went up to Purgatory. Something's going down."
That's right. Did you make it there?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
and you go there, and Date's got his head bandaged, and then a bunch of gangs had come in. There was an explosion.
Yeah, pretty much everything's
they
burned down.
Yep, they got jumped. Everything's burned down. And then I'm out looking for these 3 gangs, I guess.
Yeah.
And I've roamed around the city twice, literally gotten into 40 fights. I fought Majima. I had fought him 0 times the last time we recorded.
Uh-huh.
I've now fought him 11 times. I've fought at least like 40 of these street gangs. Yeah, so that makes wandering around the city at this point very slow.
Yes.
And I've just done a lot of that now, looking for these 3 gangs, and I don't know where any of them are.
So we're looking for these 3 gangs because one of the gangs took Haruka.
Yep.
So I'll give you a hint, Matt. The children's park.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
There's a place called the children's park. Go there. And they should lead you where you need to go.
Okay. I mean, is anybody supposed to know where that is? Do you just wander around till you find it, or do you just...
It's on the map.
Google it. Oh, it's labeled?
Yeah, it's labeled. So if you...
okay.
It's in the northwest corner of the map.
Northwest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would go there. You'll run into some gang members who will tell you to go somewhere else. And then the gang members will tell you to go somewhere else. And we'll do that again.
Yeah, not surprised.
Yep. But, yeah, that's where we'll leave off then. Haruka is kidnapped once again. She just, she can't help herself, can she?
Nobody seems to be able to.
Yeah. Kidnapped by Majima.
Florist's daughter, Haruka. Yeah, everybody's getting kidnapped.
Yeah. Kidnapped by Majima, then kidnapped by these weird dudes in black, and then kidnapped by some gangs. So, one thing after another with her. But, yeah, that'll be it for us. We do have one email. That email comes in from Dustin. It's labeled Yakuza Kiwami, and the only thing he said in the email was, Kiryu-chan! And that was it.
Yeah. I do enjoy Majima popping up random places. At this point, he's actually easier than most of the bosses, and even some of the just regular fights.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Majima is a joke at this point. Since I've leveled up a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Are there 2 different types of Majima fights?
Technically, yes. So, the Majima Everywhere system works like this. You will randomly run into Majima. He'll chase you down the street, or he'll pop out of somewhere, depending on certain criteria. So, I went to a store and bought some food, and so I bought, I can't remember what it was. It was something you had to microwave. It was like I just wanted to eat some food to heal. And I buy it, and then somebody off screen says, "You want that microwave for you?" And then Kiryu's like, "Oh yeah, you can microwave it for me." And then he turns and looks, and it's Majima behind the counter. And he's like,
There was also a bar. There was like a side story where you do, where he's like making you drinks.
Yeah,
Did you do that one?
That was so. That reminded me of a specific scene. So, have you ever seen the show The IT Crowd?
Yes, I have.
Okay, you remember the scene where he's behind the bar? they go to the I can't remember where it's at. It's some kind of like dinner party or something. It's at a bar. And he's behind the bar, and he's pretending to be the bartender. Anyway, that's what it reminded me of. Because this dude, he waves you in. He says, "Hey, come on, get a drink with me." And he's like, "Nah, I'm good. It's like, "Oh, come on, just one drink." So Kiryu's like, "Okay, fine." So
I thought he was going to be some kind of flasher, too, because he's got this weird, like, big sleeping bagging jacket on.
Yeah. And so you go into the bar, and when you sit down, The bartender's guy is back to Kiryu, and he turns around. It's Majima. And Kiryu immediately stands up and says, "I'm out of here." He's like, no. Come drink these drinks. And he keeps trying to charge us outlandish fees for the drinks.
Yeah, at the end he's like, "Yeah, this is normally, 5.6 million yen, but I'm going to give it to you for only 560,000."
Yep. And then after we beat him up, he's like, "Yeah, that was just, crappy dollar store gin kind of thing." So yeah, there's a lot of those. And that's, to be honest with you, some of those are the best part of the game.
Yeah, I was going to say, their relationship is almost more interesting than even Nishiki's and Kiryu's at the moment, because I like how Kiryu is a little bit, he's so exasperated. He's just rolling his eyes. He's like, "What are you even doing? Why are we fighting? I'm not going to fight you. I have no reason to fight you." And I like in that bar scene, Majima's whole, the outlandish prices were so that Kiryu wouldn't pay them, so that now he actually has a reason to fight him. It's like he's coming up with any ridiculous excuse possible, just be like, "Oh, well, you've wronged me, now let's fight."
Yeah. But to answer your question earlier, how the Majima everywhere system works is basically you will randomly run into Majima or have special events like that, and they'll fill up a bar every time you beat him. And then when you get to when you fill up the bar and you get to the next rank, you have a special event. You'll get a phone call from one of his lieutenants saying, "Majima's somewhere in the city," and he'll give you a hint, and you got to go find him. So that's why you got to go find the giant traffic cone, and that's an event that you have to do. And he won't show up unless you do that special event. So when you get that phone call, and if you want to continue the Majima Everywhere thing, you need to find him, and then he'll start showing up at random places again.
And are those fights harder? Because I feel like I had one fight in particular where he had multiple health bars, and it was just clearly harder than any of the other fights.
Typically, those are boss fights. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's the next rank up kind of thing.
Yep.
So yeah, that's how that system works. And I don't know. I feel like I'm enjoying the combat more in this one than I did Yakuza 0.
I'm definitely not yet.
Yeah. I really, Matt, concentrate on those heat moves. Concentrate on the spirit tree. I feel like that is your best bet.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do next.
And I would stick the brawler. Brawler stance for me is like my go-to bread and butter, because I have that standard, XXXY attack, and now I've got it upgraded to where I do another Y where he does a weird scissor kick in the air and slams down on a guy. That's that combo alone is usually enough to knock out a regular enemy.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I would definitely be leveling up your heat as much as possible. But yeah, that's going to be it for us. I appreciate everybody listening. If you would like to send us an email, which please do, it is drew@ztgd.com. You can follow us all on Twitter. I am at Drew Leachman. Matt is at REMGS, and the podcast itself is at ZTGD Phoenix Down. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for us. We're going to get out of here. Until next time, I am Drew.
And I'm Matt.
And we're gone. Have a wonderful week, everybody. And we'll be back next week with the continuation of Yakuza.